My next guest is a very funny comedian, one of my favorite comedians, I think, of all time. He has a new book called Overstated, a coast-to-coast roast of the 50 states. Does he think maybe I'm trying to butter him up, and that's why he's going to be in a bad mood? Yeah, when I bring him out, but I meant it. His latest special, Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show. It's streaming now on HBO Max. Here is my buddy, Colin Quinn. Wow.
Woo.
Yeah.
Hi, Jimmy.
Oh, man, I just said some great things about you, man.
I know, but you said one of my favorites, I think.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but you said I think in the middle of that. I don't know why you had to, you know.
Well, no, I didn't say it. Did I say I think? No, you're one of my
Yeah. You
You're
said one of my favorites, I think.
No.
Yeah, you started to question yourself in the middle, but look, it's still good. One of my
Colin-
favorites, I think, is pretty good.
You're
It's not good as one of my favorites, unequivocally, but it's still pretty good.
you are one of the hardest working comedians there is. I would say that about you. And because of what's happening in the world, you were telling me that this is the longest stretch that you've gone without being in a comedy club.
True.
Well, that must be bizarre for you. But there's a very specific demographic that you blame the spread of COVID on. I hate to bring this up.
Nerds, because here's why it's nerds before the invention of the computer. Nerds, they had one thing that they could actually do in life that would make them popular, which is medical field. They would sit looking at microscope. That was their only hope to be rock stars. And they'd look at slides. That was the thing. And so they would figure out a thing like COVID, but it took them like 3 weeks. Uh-huh. And because they're all too busy, like, involved with movies and music and anime and apps, we're getting like third-rate nerds to be in the medical field.
Because they're developing apps now instead of focusing on what they should be nerding about, which is science and medicine.
Yeah, which is saving our lives so we can push them into lockers for another couple of 100 years.
Even though you can't perform right now, are you still writing a lot?
Yes, I'm writing I write on my phone constantly. I got a few joke ideas. You want to hear any of them?
I'd love to hear some.
Thank you. Well, first of all, it's Corona stuff, obviously.
Okay.
In movies, all those Liam Neeson movies like Taken, right? It's going to change. Like, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will give you the finger across the room. It'll be awkward. That sounds like a sketch you got cut out of your dress, but now that I say it out loud. Sex scenes.
Sex scenes go near people 6 feet, I understand.
What's that? Exactly. And sex scenes. When you explain it, it's even worse. Sex scenes. There's gonna be no more sex. People are not gonna kiss in a movie, or the whole audience is gonna go like, ugh. Imagine two people exchanging. So we're all gonna think like, what is that person's husband and wife gonna do with these perverts out there? It's gonna be back to like in the 1940s, people would just wink at each other in a movie, and that was like sex. Or they would like have bunk beds on a train, and you were like, ooh, and wear pajamas. They all wore pajamas, and that was like, oh my God, Myrna Loy in pajamas. That's a hot movie.
Bunk beds on a train.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, these are great bits.
They're the beginnings of great bits. Thank you.
I want to talk about the book. Gosh, it's so funny. It's called Overstated, a coast-to-coast roast of the 50 states. And the nice quotes on the back here, a few quotes.
Yeah.
New York Times calls you a barstool philosopher. That's a compliment, right?
Yeah, it depends on the bar. Sometimes it's, some erudite Irish, intellectual professor with his, corduroy jacket, spouting Joyce, or it could be a drunken lout who's like, hey, I'll tell you what I think's going on. You know what I mean? So I don't know how they meant it. It sounds like a little bit of a left-handed compliment.
Yeah,
Maybe
a
I'm
little
paranoid.
You did. I want to talk to you about this special because you figured out a way to do a socially distant stand-up show. You have a new special on HBO Max, Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show. You shot it at a drive-in theater in Brooklyn. I didn't even know there was a drive-in theater in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
How'd the idea come together? How'd you do this? You directed.
Well, I did a tweet in March, and then my manager was like, we should do that as a real thing. I tweeted in March 3rd or something, hey, drive-in comedy, trying to be funny, on Twitter. You know how I like to mix it up a little. And then he started pitching it around, and then HBO Max was like, yeah, we'll do a special. So then I get all my friends, and then it's basically us doing a socially distant, doing stand up for cars, which there's like 50 cars in a parking lot, and it was funny. A lot of people, like the MC Rich Voss, goes, "Hey, don't worry, folks. We don't have bouncers here. If you give us trouble, we have tow trucks."
You know what I liked about it is also not just the acts on stage, but also a lot of it's just what comedians talk about backstage. And, and hanging out.
All that banter, all the fun of that communal bonding that you miss because you no longer have that. Because you're by yourself in a studio. You don't even have an audience anymore. You're literally back to being alone. I've seen the monologue every night. It's you as a little boy in Saugerties with a hairbrush in front of your mirror doing jokes. You don't even know if they're getting laughs or not.
You get in there, you get right in there, you know what? It is a bit awkward, do you remember the most awkward gig you ever had?
Compared to like the car gig was nothing. That's what I was trying to tell people. We've all had so many gigs, in comedy, where suddenly you're like, oh, I'm doing comedy clubs, that's how it works. And then suddenly you're next to somebody's pool in the backyard and you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do comedy here, right? So
that was awful.
But my famous bad gig is De Niro's birthday party, his 60th birthday party. And I went in there and ruined his birthday. Here's how bad it was, because even I was like, maybe I'm exaggerating, it wasn't that bad. He's had such a life filled with so many things, he probably doesn't even remember it. And then like 10 years later, Jim Norton, we happened to be talking to De Niro outside of something, and Jim Norton goes, remember the time he bombed at your birthday party? And De Niro and his wife both got this look in their face of hate. It was that 10 years later.
Wow.
The guy's traveled the world 8 times since then, probably, and it still brought an ugly energy to both of them. That's how bad it was.
What was so bad about it?
I just went up there and I was planning on, I had this big plan. She just told me to go up and do an impression of De Niro and leave. But I was like Ralph Cramden when I was like, nah, I'm going to bet, I'll do more than that. And she's like, all right. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's a comedian.
We're not asking for more.
I don't know what I'm doing. I was roasting him. The crowd didn't know. I told her, don't intro me, which is another amateur mistake. Of course, nobody knows who I am.
No introduction.
I go up and I start trashing him, making roast jokes. And people are like, they're in the middle of dinner, Jimmy. It's not even dark out. It's light out. So, everybody's there. So Robin Williams, I leave soaked in shame at the end. I walk outside, but it was lightly raining. And I had this shirt, like this new cashmere shirt on a hanger. I had another show that night, so I had a shirt.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams comes out, he's like commiserating with me. And I go, I just don't know. And I gesture, and my shirt flies off the hanger into a puddle, and a cab runs it over in the rain. Robin Williams couldn't stop laughing. I just walked away. I didn't even say another word. I just left. I saw him like 2 years later.
That's the best. Talking about the worst gig, it just got worse. Oh my God, that's perfect.
Oh, it was brutal.
But I love that he's there to laugh. I love that a comic. You need a comedian.
Thank God he was. Yes, he understood. In fact, he said his wife was going, help him. He goes, no, he doesn't want me to help him.
Well, I want to show a clip of your special. This is Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show. Take a look at this clip.
You've never done a show with all cars, right?
Not really, no.
I'm just wondering how it's going to work.
Oh yeah, boss, we got to talk to you about the instructions. So when you come out, the guy that's going to change the microphone, he might be changing it while you're on stage between the acts.
What are you talking about?
The guy's going to be on stage.
Not as I'm talking. Safety first, they say, with this COVID. Thank you for cleaning this off. Listen, you're a big name. And after this, believe me, you're going to be able to do rooftops. You're going to be able to do driveways. Do you know how many parking garages? It's not going to end for you.
We got a big treehouse show coming up.
Yes.
Colin Quinn, everybody, his book Overstated, a coast-to-coast roast of the 50 states is available now. And check out Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show on HBO Max. It is so fun to have you and always a delight. And please come back whenever, everybody, and stay safe, okay?
Thanks, Jimmy. You too.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on.